Yes. Welcome back to another stream. Big up everyone. It's the contract situation. There's contract updates to actually talk about, which usually we've not really had contract updates that much. I think because it's a tight season, I think we have to go quite into it for this. And then it's for Ake, Haaland, and your man Rico Lewis. Big up everyone in the stream. Big up everyone watching the Everton game as well. That's a wild match going on. I see everyone putting the scores in the chat and that. I don't know who you want to start with, boys.
The big one, obviously, Rico Lewis, man, getting him locked down to a new contract. It's big news for the club. I'm cool to start with whatever, man. All three of these they're great. They're great signings to get them locked down to further to bigger contracts, different situations for each contract. Release clauses for some, higher wages for some, but all three of them are undoubtedly huge part of the future. So, where would we like to start? Do you want us to chat, or we give it a go ourselves?
No, we'll go for it. Should we start Rico, then work our way to Haaland? Haaland's a big one, isn't it? So do we work our way to that? Do you know what I mean? Save best till last. But that's no disrespect on Rico, isn't it? Echo, people are saying. Let me double check. No, we'll go for it. It's better now. People say better now. Buzzing. Chilling. Yeah, Rico Lewis getting a new contract. I think everyone thought that'd be a standard thing. Especially with the season that he's had this year. I think everyone thought that this year you'd be seeing a lot more of Cole Palmer. It'd be his year to come through. That'd be the next academy player. But that ain't it. It's actually been Rico's season from the academy. He's absolutely smashed it. He's come into this side like he's fitting just like that. He looks really good at that right back. Now I'm not sure how much you'll see him going forward from now until the end of the season, especially with all of our fixtures and how important they are. But I mean, we need to rest players. Might see him here or there.
I wouldn't surprise me if you didn't see Rico Lewis again this season, to be honest with you. I just think that the games we've got, man, are so big.
That's what I mean. It's pressure in it. I'm not sure how much he'll get towards end.
He's definitely not going to start another match. No, I don't see him starting another match now till the end of the season. But could he get on as a sub? Maybe. I mean, the thing is, he's exceeded all his targets for this season. And you would have said to him at the start of the season, you're going to play 10 games in the Premier League, 5 FA Cup matches, 2 Champions League, 2 Carabao. I'm pretty sure he'd be like, you're having a laugh. You know what I'm saying? So he's exceeded all his targets. He's proved to us already that we know that this guy can be a future star for Manchester City at right back. So for me, it's not really about what he does now for the rest of the season. It's about getting him tied down to that new contract and developing him again next year. See if we can increase. I mean, he's only played 550 minutes in the Premier League, which is probably more than Calvin Phillips. So that's a dub. But I'd be looking. Can we double his minutes next season? Can we get him to 1,000 Premier League minutes next season? That's what 9-10 games, like full games. That'd be decent. He's only be 19 in November, so he'd be 19. Playing the equivalent of 10 matches in the Premier League next season. Maybe get a few more starts in the Champions League group stages if we can get him in the group stages. I think that's a target for him. I just think with Rico Lewis, we just need to make sure that we don't go too hype on him. I mean, we've seen some good stuff from him this year. I think most people like what they see. Most people, and it's about developing him, making sure we keep him grounded, and just say, look, next year we can get you to 1,000 minutes in the Premier League, get you some FA Cup, Champions League starts again, and then we go from there. And then with a vision of in the season after, so that would be 2024, 2025. Kyle Walker might leave the club. Could he then be a full starter? So for me, it's just about managing his development, not throwing him in too much at the deep end, and just trying to improve on his minutes that he's had this year.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Rico, man. I think he's a prime example of how our academy structure is perfect. Pep has implemented this idea that all the academy teams will play the exact same way the first team does, so that if they're needed and they're called upon, it's not a big shock for them. It's not a big culture shock with the way we play football at first team level. So it doesn't come as a surprise that a player as talented and he's clearly got a very good footballing brain, Rico Lewis, that when he was called upon at a stage of need this season, when we had quite a few injuries and the team was looking inconsistent, we weren't sure what we were doing, he still looked like he knew what he was doing. That's why he got the amount of minutes he did. I mean, if you told him when he was I think he was 17 at the start of the season, you would have. I'm pretty sure he scored. Didn't he score in a Champions League game as well?
Yeah.
Was it Sevilla?
He equalised.
Yeah. So he scored in the Champions League. He's played however many Premier League minutes and so on and so forth. If you told him that back last May, I'd say he would have bit the hand off you. And I think it's fair to say he's took his opportunity. So giving him that long-term contract, I think he's earned it because he's shown enough this season through performances that he can play the Pep Guardiola way. He can fit in seamlessly. He doesn't look out of place. And that's what you want. For a system as structured as ours, when you bring someone in, you want them to look like they fit in. You don't want them to look like it's a complete shock to their system. I mean, it took Jack Grealish that year of adaptation because he was so used to playing a polar opposite system. So when he came in, he had to adapt. With Rico Lewis, because he's played it the whole way through, it looks perfectly seamless for him. So for me, it looks like a standout candidate for a Kyle Walker replacement, which is massive boots to film. And Kyle Walker is one of, if not the best right full back in Premier League history. So to give Rico Lewis that compliment is absolutely huge for him. So improved wages, longer contract, and man, I have full faith in Pep, man. He's shown it through Phil Foden that he knows how to, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for here. Get a youth player into the first team anyway. Better men.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's only a positive signing Rico's for a new long-term deal. Guy looks sick, and he for someone so young, pay rise. Someone so young, he fits in so well in this side.
Yeah, he's probably on about a couple of grand. He's probably on a couple of grand a week. He's got to be put up there for me with Cole Palmer money. Cole Palmer's on 20k a week. So you got to be putting him on that for me. And just get him on a nice 5-year contract. I put him on a 5-year contract. No messing around. Get that contract extended, and then just manage his minutes. And I think sometimes there's an eagerness with fans to say, as soon as you see a player that looks semi-decent, get him in the team. Get him in the team. You see it with Perone. I mean, there's an eagerness to see young players in the team, and I get it because we all want to see these young players develop, and we're excited about them. Some of the players we're not too sure like how they're going to perform, and it's going to be like it's exciting to see. But it's also very important to keep them grounded and to manage those minutes very, 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 very well. You got to remember, guys, our games are huge. I'm not trying to put other clubs down, but like we're fucking fighting for a treble. You know what I mean? You lose one game in the Prem, and that can be the difference between success and failure. So it's about managing his minutes properly. He's had a great season this year. He's if you, like I said right at the start of this conversation, if you would have offered him the minutes that he's had in the Premier League, Champions League at the start of the season to what he's had, I'm sure he would have took it. Like I say, it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't feature again for City this season, just because of the games we've got. But that's fine.
If he didn't, he'd still be happy, wouldn't he? He'd be still.
I think so. I think he'd be happy. Yeah. And we go again next season. And like I say, if we can get an easy Champions League draw, hopefully he can start a couple of games. I mean, he started the Seville game at home. That's when he equalised. Played 85 minutes in that. He played 35 minutes in the Copenhagen game at home. So if we can get an easy Champions League draw, not even an easy Champions League draw, like you normally get one team in the Champions League draw that ain't great. You know what I mean? For us, unfortunately, we had Copenhagen, who actually not the worst side in the world. So if you can get like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you get one of these teams that are just they're a Europa League, Conference League side, and they just winged it in there. If you can get one of them, then maybe you could start him in that home and away. But yeah, just looking at improving his minutes next season, get him signed up on a 5-year deal, and we're all happy.
Yeah, gassed.
Yeah,
big news. Should we go on to Nathan Ake? He's another player in line for a new contract, which is really, really, really good. Really good, especially the way that he's been playing this year. Definitely deserves a new contract. I think you won't find a City fan that would disagree with that. And given the fact that he was close to leaving the club in summer, to see him on the verge of signing a long-term deal, that's big. That is major, that. Yeah,
it is. And of course, people are saying it in the chat. There has been photos today. He's back in training. So he's training with the team, which is great news. So he's running out of contract. He's only contracted until the end of 2025. So we need to get him signed up on a new deal. Rumour has it that City want to get him signed up on a contract to take him into his 30s, 32, 33. So I expect a 2 to 3 year contract extension for Nathan Ake. And that's well deserved. His current wage is £92,000 a week. If you look at players comparable in his position, you've got Manuel Akanji on 180, Ruben Diaz 180. For me, if I'm Ake, I'm asking for the same money. I'm saying, how's Akanji on the same? I need to be on the same money as Akanji, 100%. So he looks like he could be in for a big payday, man.
He's keep at all costs, Nathan Ake. I think he's now earned the status of you keep this guy at all costs. I think we're going to persevere with this system we have going now in the defensive area, the pitch, the three at the back and the one inverting fullback. And it's quite clear that Nathan Ake just looks so comfortable in that shape. And he looks so comfortable with his connection and his chemistry he has with the likes of Ruben Diaz and Akanji, and Akanji, of course, as well. So, listen, this guy's had a fantastic season. It's probably been his best season in his whole entire career when you consider what we paid for him, the stick we got for how much we paid for a relegation-bound player playing for Bournemouth, the rough start he had, wasn't getting game time, had to wait his time. He really, really had to be patient. And I always say things like that, players who are patient and wait for their opportunities, it's a great sign in character. It's a sign that he's a very good person and he's grounded and he's humble and he's hungry. And then he gets his chance, man. He gets his chance. Could have left last summer. Said, nah, he stayed, whatever. And he's been class. He's been top 3 players this season, Nathan Ake. And the way he conducts himself and the type of person I get the feeling he is, he's another player who could play right through to 34, 35, 36. He's that quality. Yeah. So I'm buzzing with this, man. I think this is fantastic business. And I'm buzzing for Nathan Ake. I met him last week as well. He was another one of the players who stopped over to say hello to me. So big up him.
Yeah, no, you're right. He probably will play until he's 35, 36 easy because of his athleticism. And, he's, guy's ripped as fuck, innit? You know what I mean? So he's going to be playing for a long time, I would suspect. And it's, it's a great signing for City. And, this shows you as well that there's an element of luck involved in football, innit? Because he could have easily left in the summer. He could have easily left.
He could have gone Chelsea.
Obviously, the
did
deal
he
broke
say
down.
he wanted to stay or did the club reject the move?
I think Chelsea pulled out because they went for Koulibaly.
Yeah, because he was open to leaving. He did an interview saying that he was open to leaving City.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
If we had to let him go, if we had to let him go the same summer as Zinchenko, then all that chaos kicked off with Cancelo in January. We would have been absolutely fucked in that area.
Yeah.
I can tell you that now for a fact. Absolutely screwed. So keeping hold of him, that little bit of luck you sometimes need squad-wise, has paid massive dividends to us this season. He's been up. We are nowhere near where we are right now without Nathan Ake. And that's just bottom line. He's one of the people who kept us ticking over at stages of the season where we weren't quite sure what direction we were going. We weren't sure if we were actually in a title race, where we just going to go for top 4 and be a cup football team. We weren't quite sure. But he's one player, he was Mr. Consistent. So he's earned every penny. I think he's every right to say, listen, double my wages, man.
If it weren't for Erling Haaland, Nathan Ake would be getting player of the season for City.
Yeah.
I
think Kevin De Bruyne's making a late push, but I agree.
Yeah,
I think I agree. And he deserves that. He deserves that Akanji money. He deserves that Akanji money. So if his agent, if his agent doesn't get him that Akanji money, mate, then he needs a new agent, bro. Because
that's true.
There's no way he should be on anything less than Akanji. Who else is in there as well? You got Calvin.
What's Ruben Diaz on?
Diaz is on the same as Akanji. He's on 180.
Yeah, he's tied down to a contract for another while, though, isn't he?
Yeah. John Stones on 250. So I think Ake anywhere between 150 and 180 because that's between Calvin Phillips and Akanji. So you got to be in between there, innit? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then to Nick Todd, by the way, with the super chat says Pep cooking macaroni and cheese for the Champions League final.
Oh yeah,
City fans these days have found some mad love for Peroni.
Weird, man. It's weird. We've seen him once, innit? And people are hooked.
Yeah.
And we walked into when we were at Bayern away the other week. I walked into this Irish bar where all the City fans were drinking before the game, and I walked in. I was later than the rest of the City fans, and I walk in. They're singing some song. I was like, "Who the hell are they singing about?" And this guy turns to me, and goes, "Obviously, it's Maximo Perone." So what the fuck do you mean? Obviously, the kid's played one game for the club. The City fans are singing about Perone. So I don't know. Is it a gimmick? City fans like to sing about players that don't get much game time, but it's banter, man.
Nah, it's not true, innit? Because Phillips would have had a tune.
Yeah, Phillips would have a big tune.
Listen, you've got to lay off Calvin Phillips, man.
What do you mean lay off him?
He's been getting cooked today, Calvin Phillips, from this channel.
Not me, man. I'm a Calvin Phillips defender.
Besides you, innit?
Yeah. All tight Calvin Phillips.
Yeah, but you've been paid off.
I've been signed off.
Yeah, you are. You've been signed off, haven't you?
You got the signature. Now you're fucking his best mate.
Well, listen, man. He's a good human being. I won't name drop anybody, but you guys know in the group chat who I was talking about. I was there. I was at the driveway to the CFA. All the players driving by. Only a select few pulled over to say hello to Mr. Murray. Calvin Phillips gave me
only a select few pulled over, bro. You made it sound like they have to pull over, innit? I'm fucking Hugh Murray, mate.
Do you know who I
Do you
am?
know who I am, man? Do you know who I am? Calvin was asking for my autograph. I signed his shirt.
Jeez. Big up to Benno with the 2. He says, going top on a bank holiday shouldn't mix, still rough. Yeah.
Yes, Benno led.
Well, of course, it might all be over tomorrow because Arsenal will play against Chelsea tomorrow. And
been
Chelsea
good, though,
are
hasn't it?
proper shit. It's been nice. It's been nice.
It's been nice. Top for a bit.
We've added a couple of days to our tally. And of course, that's important because if they do end up changing the rule, I mean, then boom, that could be quite important. So yeah, big up Nathan Ake. He deserves a new contract. I suspect that's probably, obviously, Rico Lewis's contract ends before Ake, so that's probably more of a priority. But Ake, I'm sure, will also be a priority because I've said all season, if I was a team like Newcastle, a team in Europe, I'd be all over Nathan Ake, mate. I'd be all over him and I'd try to snap him up because I do think that you could potentially get into his head a little bit and be like, oh, with City signed Gvardio, you're going to be out again. And it's just a one-season thing that you're playing. And you could potentially try and get him. So hopefully City can tie him down to that new deal. And then the final one, the man.
The big dog, innit?
Erling Haaland, back up for another. Obviously, he's only joined us less than a year ago. And he's up for a new contract extension already, which is pretty wild. It's likely to take him to the most paid player in the Premier League, which is fair.
It is fair. The guy is ripping it up. It's like the Diaz thing, innit? When we signed Diaz, we give him a contract straight away. Improved contract, improved wages. And I think that's just the same thing that City are doing with this. So now we know that the release clause doesn't exist anymore. Not sure they'll write a new one into it. I don't see them doing that. I just think he'll get a new contract, so a year extension, something like that, with a major cash. Even I mean, he's on big cash as it is, but I mean, like, more major cash.
People can't complain, man. People can't complain about how much we give this guy money-wise because he's worth every single penny. Like, whatever he wants. I'd be saying give him a blank check. You write down how many zeros you want, Erling, because he's literally he's worth his weight in gold, Erling Haaland. You know what? I want to refer back to the time when we signed Haaland and my channel at the time. I was doing a stream and people were flooding in saying, oh, he's got a release clause in there. He's using you for 2-3 years and he'll fuck off.
Stepping stone,
that'll be the end of Erling Haaland at Man City. And I said, you don't understand the infrastructure of this club. And you look at our recent history and the players we've held. We've fought off massive clubs around Europe to hold on to these big players. We seem to have a great ability to get players in the door. And we go, yeah, listen, have your release clause. You can leave 2-3 years, no problem. They fall in love with the place. They fall in love with the fans. They fall in love with the infrastructure, the players around them, the manager, the style of football. 50 goals a season. He's gone, why the fuck would I want to leave this? I don't need no release clause. Mm-hmm. This is what City do, man. It's the City factor. We've got that X factor. So my whole thing was get him in the door, fall in love with the place, and here we are, man. We're talking about getting rid of a release clause.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, right? You know what the dumb thing is about that? The people are like, oh yeah, but he's gonna use you for 2 to 3 years. Ha 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 ha. Bro, it's like being used, man, by Margot Robbie, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I'd say people all around the world are going to accept that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the way it is. So if he does leave in 2 to 3 years, great. I've had the best footballer in our team for 3 years and he gets off. Okay, shake his hand and say, see you later. But why are people not going to be happy with that, innit? Yeah, like, I'm going to turn around in 3 years and go, fuck, he used us.
Fuck's sake, Margot used me.
You snake, Alan. You snake.
No, I might cry and I might be like, fucking gutted, man. You know what I'm saying? But like, at the end of the day, I've seen the best player in the world right now at my team.
No, but you know what? With our recruitment team and our scouting, Erling Haaland leaves. I fully back our club to find the next Erling Haaland. I do. Some other wonder kid will come on the scene in 5-10 years' time. And City, if they're still, as fortunate as we are now and going through success like we are now, I'd expect us to be in the race to sign the next one. But for right now, the fucker's about to sign a new contract. Take out his release clause. Enjoy every second of it. And when someone says he's going to leave in 3 or 4 years to go play for Madrid, laugh at them. Say, I'm what? I'm watching this guy score 50 goals a season right now. I who's he'd rather be, what shoes he'd rather be wearing. The guy's, he's blue through and through, man. I know there is potential he could leave whenever down the road, but I think there's also equal possibility he stays for a good, proper, long time. And this is the signals we're getting right now would suggest he wants to.
I mean, to be fair, it happens every time. Like, it's always happened. We sign Aguero. It's always the thing. It's always the thing that they'll just get off and leave us. Even when we got our owners, they'll just get off and leave us. It's just
Pep Guardiola.
Pep Guardiola, yeah, he'll just get off. I mean, it
The thing is as well, right? People have to remember that Erling Haaland ain't going to go to Real Madrid unless Real Madrid are competing. Right now they're competing, but in 3 years' time they might not be competing. Football changes.
In 3 years' time, if he's still got cash left, if he's still got years left on his contract, if he does sign his contract extension and making more money. Someone got to pay the money to get him out of the football club for a start.
And he clearly loves it. He clearly loves playing for City. You know what I mean? His dad obviously is buzzing that he's here. He has a chance. I mean, you got to remember in 3 years' time, he's probably going to be 3 years away from breaking the Premier League all-time record. Especially if
man singing Johnny Stones on the pitch during a title decider against Arsenal. You tell me that is a man who's got the exit door in his sights. I will argue with you about that. Listen, the guy's happy, man. And I think the more goals he does score and the closer in his horizons that Alan Shearer record does get, probably be a Harry Kane record at the time, he may go, you know what? I originally at the start of my career liked the prospect of challenging myself in multiple leagues, but I can now become a Premier League legend, like the Premier League GOAT, undisputed, multiple Premier Leagues, hopefully, a few Champions Leagues, and then owns every single goal scoring record. He's going to have to weigh it up, man. He's going to have to weigh it up. Do you want a Serie A? Do you want a La Liga? Or do you want to be the Premier League GOAT? Listen, Erling, man.
Yeah, and not only that, bro, like, if he stays for the next 10, 12, 13 years or whatever,
every record will have Haaland next to it.
Yeah, every record. And he could end up putting Manchester City right up there with Man United and Liverpool. City are currently on 8 titles. If we go on and win this year, that'll put us on 9. There's only 4 teams above us then in England. So this club with no history. I'm just watching Pickford absolutely shit.
Yeah, I just seen that, by the way.
Wow, Jesus.
He got away with it there.
Yeah, he did. He could put us right. And as a Manchester City fan, that must be appealing to him going, hang on a minute. If we win this year on 9 titles, I could potentially get Manchester City up to 16, 17 titles. Now, Liverpool United might win 1 or 2 in that time. No guarantee. And there's no guarantee City will, but if they keep Pep and Haaland, they probably will. That must be appealing. Again, looking at Champions Leagues, teams in England haven't won that many Champions Leagues. Liverpool's our best. I think they've won 5 or 6. So again, we've not won any, but you can see that if City can get that first Champions League over the line, you could see them going and winning a couple of more. United, I think, have only won 2 or 3. So, you can suddenly start to see as a player like Haaland, you could go, you know what? Me personally, I could basically make Manchester City go right up in terms of the records and the titles. And people will look back at me in 20 years and go, you know what? He was the man that delivered Manchester City that boost in silverware.
Yeah.
But even just on a Manchester City level, like he's just arrived at the club and he's seen the statues outside the ground. He's seen David Silva, he's seen Sergio Aguero, and he's seen Vincent Kompany. He's looking at Aguero going, I'm already way ahead of where Aguero was when he first arrived at the club. And this team is only getting better and better as well.
And the club is better positioned now than it was.
Yeah. So his dad plays for the club when the club wasn't successful. He's going to the games. He's looking at his dad on the pitch. He's looking at City. He's going to games after that as well. And he goes, imagine someday I play for the club. He came for the club most successful period where he could find himself with a statue outside that stadium of the club his dad played for. There's so many contributing factors. It's just not as simple as, I want to go to Real Madrid when I'm 26. I refuse to have that conversation. It's just nowhere near as simple as that. There's so much that he can achieve here. And based purely off what we're seeing, body language-wise, everything he says this season, I think he's really buying into it slowly but surely.
I don't think slowly.
I think he's getting hooked fast.
I think he's fucking buzzing, mate. I don't even think it's slowly but surely. I think he's just like, boom, I'm absolutely loving it here. You know what I mean? He seems settled. His family's settled. And he's not one of these guys that's from Southern Europe. Guy's from Norway, man. So he ain't going to be fucking put off by the weather that much. He's got a house in Marbella, so he can just go and get on a private jet and just get off to there whenever he wants. He get managed well. You know what I mean? He won't be managed as well at Real Madrid. If he goes there, they'll spam him out. Trust me. So everything's perfect for him at Manchester City, and that's probably why they're looking at a new contract. He only needs like a 25 grand a week bonus to make him the highest paid player in the Premier League. So I'd expect when this new contract is signed,
He
he will
definitely
then
will surpass that.
Yeah, he'll become the most played player, which is fair. He deserves it with his records this season.
I also think that this club is better for Haaland than anyone else right now. Look at the way that we're so careful with him. How like we have like a whole injury team dedicated to Erling Haaland to make sure he's at the peak condition at all times. We send physios with him when he goes to internationals to make sure that he's getting what City want from it. Like basically, he's basically sticking to the City regime even when he's in the international camps. Like we are basically controlling his situation to make sure that he is always in peak condition and to make him the best player.
Yeah, and one other thing that I was going to mention that's kind of on that but slightly different is if he goes to Real Madrid, they will push him on the commercial side a lot more than Manchester City do. Now, Manchester City probably push Haaland more than anyone else in the squad, and rightly so because of his name, is what he can bring to potential sponsorships. But if he goes to Real Madrid, he is going to be everywhere. He's going to have to do a lot more work with sponsorships and all that kind of shit because Real Madrid will demand it. Real Madrid say, if you come here and you're our leading face, you need to be on the face of all our sponsorship partners and therefore you need to be doing all this extra work. So that's probably another thing. And the best thing for us really is if Mbappe goes to Real Madrid, because if Mbappe goes to Real Madrid, he ain't going to go there.
Yeah, because if they go drop 200 million on Mbappe, they're not going to go drop another 200 million for Haaland in like a season.
Also, don't Real Madrid demand ownership over image rights of their big assets? I'd be very surprised if we currently own Erling Haaland's image rights. I would be very surprised if that was something that we insisted on. So even if he's thinking of his own brand, because he is already is, but he's only going to become a bigger brand as well. I just don't see the appeal for someone with the aspirations of Erling Haaland going to Real Madrid. He's never going to be the Madrid legend. He's never ever going to be the Madrid icon. He's just going to be part of a long list of very successful Real Madrid players. I mean, when Cristiano Ronaldo was on the way out from Real Madrid, half the Madrid fans hated the guy, and he gave them everything. He gave them everything. So Haaland will know that no matter what he does for Los Blancos, they're never going to love him the way we will when he walks out our door.
He'll never be appreciated as much as what we want to say.
That's probably another thing to mention, that if he keeps slamming like he is doing this season. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't expect him to keep scoring 50. He's probably going to get 60 goals. In fact, Super Chat from Liam said, I think Haaland will get to 65 goals this season. I think he'll get to 60. I don't expect him to get to 60 every season. I think 40 is probably where he's probably going to be at, which is still phenomenal. If he's hitting 40 every season, or maybe getting a little bit better than that, he's got to then have a serious think about, do I go Real Madrid? Because what about if I go Real Madrid and it doesn't work out? There is a potential that he could go there and it wouldn't work out. Personnel, style of play, manager. If he's slamming at City, now if he falls off at City a little bit, maybe Pep leaves, we get a new manager and he doesn't do as well. Maybe he's then like, well, I'm going to roll the dice and go. But if he keeps doing well at Manchester City, keeps getting 40 to 50 goals every season, he's then got to think to himself, if I go, there's a risk that it won't be as good. So I'm pretty confident, man. I'm pretty confident that Haaland will sign his new contract, and obviously there's no release clause currently in his deal. Will they put one in? Will he want one? Wait and see. But even if they put one in, I just think people just need to relax, man. Someone's got to pay the cash first of all.
Yeah, that's true.
And what was the release clause last time? I think the release clause last time was like 150, 175. Well, if we do put a release clause in now,
it'll be more than that.
It'll be minimum 250.
Yeah, minimum. Because if it is any less than 250, someone will just snap it up.
Exactly. So it'll be 250 minimum. So even if they do put a release clause in there, I'd relax anyway, because if someone decides to activate it, you've got 250 million in the bank to go and sign a new striker. So, and you've got Alvarez.
You got Alvarez, yeah, he's actually sick.
Yeah,
crazy, man. Crazy.
It's not a situation to panic over whatsoever. No. It genuinely couldn't actually be better. His relationship with the club, his relationship with the manager, with the fans, it's literally 10 out of 10. There's no fracture there whatsoever. So there's nothing for us to say, but he doesn't really like this. And it's not like we're Bernardo Silva where we know there's some things that he doesn't like about the lifestyle he's living. Haaland couldn't seem happier. So I think we'll just have to run the line that we've been saying since the moment he walked to the door. Just enjoy him, man. Just live in the present and just enjoy watching him bag week in, week out. And if ever done where he has to leave, just have to pat him on the back and say, you are a legend, man. We appreciate you. So just enjoy him, man. He's here. He's signing a new no release clause. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Soon.
Release clause season, isn't it? Well, no release clause season, hopefully, but I mean, like, it's a contract, new contract season is what I meant.
Yeah, big up to Benno with the super chat. Says you've seen Ty AFTV said Diaz could have ended White's career. Yeah, he couldn't have ended White's career. He couldn't have ended White's career.
No way.
Not sure why.
That chat's so much shit, man.
That's shit.
I don't know why that's come out. But yeah, so things are looking good on the contract situation. Let me have a quick look before we go. Let me have a quick look at other contracts that are running out.
Looking at. Yeah.
Where are they? Agent contracts. Here we go. I think we've got it here. This Leicester Everton game is pretty sick, you know.
Yeah, there's a massive save from Iverson a minute ago. I think it's got Iverson, the keeper, the Leicester keeper.
Right, so these are the contract situations. So Ilkay Gundogan, Scott Carson, and Benjamin Mendy's contracts all run out this season. So we know that Benjamin's not going to be offered a new contract. Gundogan looks like he's going to leave, possibly to Barcelona. Scott Carson, we'll have to wait and see. Not seeing anything on the contract news there. Next season, our right backs, Kyle Walker and Rico Lewis. So we've just spoke about Rico Lewis earlier in the stream. He's getting offered a new deal. I'm pretty sure that'll get signed. Kyle Walker, though, there were some rumours that Manchester City do not intend to offer Kyle Walker a new contract. So that'll be an interesting one. And then just a little bit further out, just something to think about. You have Ortega, Kevin De Bruyne, Mahrez, Laporte, Nathan Ake, and Bernardo Silva. So I'm pretty confident Bernardo Silva's going to sign a new deal, man. I'm pretty confident he's going to sign.
Yeah, I've been seeing shit saying that if Barca can't afford him, he's just happy to stay.
Yeah, and if he's happy to stay, he's going to sign a new deal. Yeah, because he ain't going to. Let me have a look at his. Let me have a look at his salary. Manchester City's salary. Here you go. Bernardo Silva is on. He's on 150, man. Phillips is on more. Walker's on more. Mahrez is on more. Diaz is on more. Akanji's on more. Rodri's on more.
You could be giving him cash, yeah.
I'd just be sticking him on 200.
Yeah, I'd put him on 200.
200, 225. Put him on Phil Foden money, something like that, and just be like, yo, sign that deal, and then go to Benfica in a few years' time.
Yeah, get a Benfica release clause in there, innit?
Yeah. Right, cool. Big up channel YouTube says, hi, Hugh, remember me, love you.
Who says that?
Channel YouTube.
Channel YouTube.
Big up channel YouTube, man. Of course I remember you.
Big. What an answer. Firmed it.
Yeah.
Did you play poker? Did you play poker, Hugh, or no? Nah, you should do, bro. Right, big up, people. Hopefully you enjoyed that contract update. Make sure you join us tomorrow. We start our build-up to the West Ham game, which is obviously on Wednesday night. Arsenal's on tomorrow as well. That's a massive game. Make sure you drop a like on this stream. Subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. Me and Hugh, by the way, did a video earlier on reviewing the month of April that we've just had. Is that City's best ever month? Go check the video out. And yeah, people will see you in the next one. See you later.
See you bits.